Hey, Eugene here again, back with another video. Today I'll be giving advice to an accountant in Brisbane, in Queensland, Australia, on strategies of getting new clients, acquiring business, inquiries, phone calls. If it's your first video to this channel, my name's Eugene. I rank websites, I run a marketing agency, I build hundreds of my own websites that I use to rank all over the internet for all sorts of niches. I flip websites, I buy websites, I sell leads, I rank websites. And we have quite a lot of clients in the accounting space, in the small business space, in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, all over Australia. So I've got a lot of data at my disposal, and there's going to be some more basic videos in the comments below, because today, even though it's going to be quite a basic video, I'm just going to dive into the space of Brisbane accounting, bookkeeping, and see what can be done to get more business. I'm going to be commenting on things like the website condition, how to show up locally. We'll look at a Google ad for accountants. They definitely work. Google ads are really, really good. Facebook ads are okay, but I'll comment on running Facebook ads. So essentially, it's not just the one thing that we do. We don't just build websites and rank them locally. We do a wide range of things, and depending on the space, depending on how competitive it is, depending on the, whether it's a wedding venue, a financial advisor, or an accountant, different strategies work for different clients. So let's actually have a quick look at the website that we're looking at. This is actually one of the better sites that was presented to me. Usually I look at websites that are built by web designers. So there's nothing wrong with the site in terms of aesthetics. They look good. I'm not a big fan of the text is getting a bit lost here. So on the aesthetic side, this is not great, but it's built with whoever built it has a bit of SEO knowledge, because a lot of the basic SEO boxes have been ticked, like the titles and stuff like that. So before I look at the website and give my feedback on the website, we always start with keyword volumes, keyword analysis. How many times does a certain keyword get entered into Google? So the keywords that this client looks for and requires is accounting leads. So the first conversation that we generally have is, hey, if you get 10 phone calls a day, a week, a month on someone looking for a personal tax return, there's not much revenue there. Potentially they can come in and you can pick them up as a client for something bigger. It might be business advisory, it might be SMSF. So we early on in the conversation with clients, we say, hey, what's your average client value? Like if we bring you 10 of the average clients, what sort of revenue will that bring you? What sort of profit will that bring you? You don't need to share those details with us, but you should know those numbers. Accountants definitely do. Financial advisors definitely do. Cardiologists definitely do. A lot of small businesses definitely don't. So it's really, really good to know that, hey, if you get 10 of the most average inquiries on your most average jobs, when I mean average, I mean it could be a personal tax return or it could be an SMSF. There's obviously a big difference between them in terms of profit and value that might bring. And so once you have those numbers, it's much easier to understand how much money you can spend on marketing, because I tell you what, accounting is very competitive. Accounting in the CBD of a city is ridiculous. In this case, it's Queensland, it's Brisbane, so it's not as dense as something like Melbourne or Sydney, where you have 20 skyscrapers and you have 40 accounting practices in one building, and there's only one Google listing that Google will display on the map. So anyhow, so everything starts from chunk of the pie, and potentially if you get X amount of phone calls, how much revenue and profit that might bring. So the first thing we look at is keyword volumes. This is not keyword volumes. This is me looking at the raw URLs. This is like the architectural drawings of the website. So let's have a look at, the first thing I look at is I pulled a list of all the suburbs in Brisbane, and I'm just getting an understanding of how many times does somebody type in the word accountant Aspley or accountant Windsor. Now, I don't know Brisbane at all, but these are the suburbs, and this is how many times in Brisbane a certain keyword gets entered into Google each month. So in this place, accountant Stafford, so somebody theoretically in that suburb is looking and typing in the term accountant Stafford. Now that means that just the term accountant will get entered into Google much more than 90 times, because this is 2 words. Makes sense that just the term accountant would get entered much more, accountant near me. So then I have a look at general Queensland keyword volumes on generic terms like accountant, tax accountant near me. So this is a whole bunch of different combinations that people throw into Google, and I'm pulling this data essentially from Google. There's also a really cool tool called Google Trends, which on the accounting space we don't really need to look it up, but something like, you know, working from home, you can see a trend over time. But in this case, we'll do accountant Brisbane, and we're probably going to get like a seasonal. So there's no point looking at this particular keyword because it's just gonna give you, everyone always needs an accountant. But something like working from home, you'll see, you know, bang, COVID hits, so there it is, or, you know, bone broth. But this tool is really, really cool to pick up trends. Past 5 years, so bone broth wasn't a big keyword back then. 2014, it kicked off. I've got a few clients in that space and a few websites in that space. So if we come back to this, this is really, really good to see because it gives you understanding of chunk of the pie, and it gives you understanding of who's searching for what combination. So how does this help us? This helps us a number of ways. To get this traffic, we can do 2 things. We can do things on the website. We can adjust the website, build a page that says tax accountants, where the heading is tax accountants, or tax accountants Brisbane. We might do, you know, accounting jobs Brisbane. We're not going to do that. Crypto, here we go. Crypto tax accountant. Now that's obviously quite a new keyword. So safe to say that if you build a page on your accounting website that's crypto tax accountant Brisbane, well, you're probably going to be in the 1% of accounting websites, probably in Australia, definitely Brisbane, that are targeting that keyword. So instantly you might have a quicker, you know, a quicker ability to take a chunk of that pie. So it's good to sort of understand keyword volumes. Then come the lower ones like medical accountants and property accountants, forensic accountants, you know, accountants for trades. So I've stopped the search here at 30, but for example, accountants for tradies, accountants for pharmaceutical. So I like to look at them as much smaller pies, but nevertheless pies that we should be going for. It's like a big fish in a small pond. That's why I love building what I call geo pages, which is almost a page for every suburb. It's definitely a lot of work. It's quite complex to roll something like that out, but nevertheless, you know, if we build a page for accountant Brighton, whether it's in Melbourne or in Brisbane, and we start getting that traffic, even though it's only 50, we'll only get maybe 20 or 30 of those visitors if we rank at the top. That's traffic that you don't, you're not otherwise getting. So what I'm trying to say is a lot of my SEO campaigns, yes, we definitely want to rank for accountant Brisbane, accountant Melbourne. A lot of the time we won't be able to do that because you've got huge companies targeting those keywords. You've got directories targeting those keywords. You've got lead sellers targeting those keywords. But where there is still a little bit of opportunity is on the micro suburb level. So I'd much rather, you know, dominate suburb by suburb and be the big fish in that pond and expand that radius than put all our eggs in one basket, try and go for accountant Brisbane, which we obviously want to rank for. We've got assets in play there, but you know, a lot of the time it doesn't work out to be a profitable strategy in the long run versus going for these keywords. Then I also look at supporting content creation. So to prove to Google that we're trustworthy in the space of accounting, here are hundreds of questions that people are Googling. What is your view on raising capital gain tax rates? So that's a question that people are asking into Google. What have we got? Tax returns. How can I claim refund for income tax? So basically, if we go and create high quality, long form, guide-like content with the correct titles, FAQs, and we create, let's say, 40, 50, 100 blogs on each of these topics. Now, some of these topics might be quite dumb. What are income tax slabs in Australia? I have no idea, but we will go research that question. We'll go answer that question. And so let's say we load 50 of these blogs, let's say 2,000 words each. 6-7 months down the track, Google is going to absolutely love your website. Google is going to trust your website. It's going to send traffic to these pages where you can have your, hey, contact us if you'd like advice on income tax minimization or things like that. And also your whole website will raise. So when we come back to ranking for these suburbs, you'll have a high chance of ranking in those suburbs. You'll have a high chance of ranking for these main keywords. So this is a bit of a content plan on, could there be a progressive flat tax? I have no idea what a lot of this stuff is, but nevertheless, these are our systems that we use when I've got almost 100 websites that are my own in the accounting space. I build suburb websites, so accountantbrighton.com.au, Accountant Toorak, a lot of those websites belong to me. And I basically use those sites to push traffic to my clients. So if I got a client in that space, that traffic goes to them, the inquiries go to them. So essentially we're diverting traffic and inquiries to our clients. But we've got more than 30 now people full-time creating content on these topics. How much income tax is there in Japan? So funny enough, people in Australia are typing in that keyword. So it's like, well, why not answer that question? Doesn't really comment on the Australian tax situation, but having that text on the website there will raise the general authority of the website. On my website, I do have videos that explain, do you even blog? That's really the one that explains the need for supporting content. I don't want to get too sidetracked here. So we looked at the keyword volumes. Then let's have a really, really quick squiz at the SEO assets of this website. It looks like the website, some movement started to happen in 2017. I think they rebuilt their website around this time. So what this is telling me, this graph is showing me organic visitors from Google based on keywords ranked. I'll actually come to this one. These are two very, very similar software solutions, both Russian. Mr. Putin and his Google manipulation. I'm joking. So this is the one that I prefer to use. The numbers a bit more conservative than SEMrush, but this tells us that they are receiving 468 visitors from Google for free each month, based on keywords ranked. So whatever this website shows up for, it shows up for 1,148 different keywords, different combination, tax accountant near me, tax advice for tradies, and each keyword has a different value. So if you put all those keywords together and you calculate how much traffic this website is getting, this website is receiving $2,200 worth of traffic every single month for free from Google. If you've ever run a Google ad before, you know that you pay cost per click. Every keyword has a cost associated to it. For example, Accountant Melbourne can cost up to $17, $20, $25 per click. So if this website is receiving, let's say, 10 of those visitors, that's $200 worth of traffic for free each month. So that's where this calculation comes from. I mean, this is all essentially made up, but it's using sort of real data and estimations and averages. And if we scroll further down, you can see that these guys have for years have been targeting wealth, financial planning keywords, and I think I mean, sure, they've been providing accounting services, but I think they're now looking to take their accounting space a bit more seriously. And we get an understanding of A, what keywords they already rank for, B, what pages on their website are getting that traffic. So services, financial planning, accounting, and tax. So it's already in a pretty good position because it's already a mature domain. It's already getting traffic in that space. It's already ranking in that space. Tax account in Brisbane, they're in 11th place, but nevertheless, they're still receiving 23 visitors from the 600 monthly traffic that keyword gets. So really, really good base foundations. Now, up here are figures of how many unique websites in the world are mentioning them. So we know that in SEO, the more websites that mention you, generally the better. Okay, bonus points if the websites that mention you are in the same space, are in the accounting space, are in the finance space. You know, if the website Accountants Daily, MYOB, Zero, mention this website, there's going to be a lot of, I call it SEO juice, but we could call it SEO energy, Google energy, whatever people call it, will flow to this website, and this website will potentially rank a bit higher. It's one of the ranking factors. Now, if good links are good, bad links are also bad. There's a lot of dirty stuff in the world, unfortunately, and you know, if you're buying cheap links on Fiverr.com or hiring someone for some too good to be true amount to do their monthly SEO, I've seen too many times where there are monthly links being hit. They're hitting the site, but those monthly links are rubbish, garbage, barely indexed by Google. Just be mindful. It's no longer a game of the more the better. It's you know, one powerful link from Accountants Daily will any day beat 30,000, 40,000 links from rubbish worldwide domains that are barely indexed. So sorry, I went off on a bit of a tangent here. I've just been doing a lot of cleaning up on client campaigns that have just had really crappy links sent to them. Anyway, the next thing I'll look at is where they actually rank. And the way I track where they rank is I grab these keywords, and I load them up into something called a rank tracker. Now, a rank tracker, in this case, I'm using SERProbot.com. And what this basically does, it's a robot, and I load the keywords myself. So I've loaded 361 keywords into this tool, and I've said, hey, place the robot in an average location of metropolitan Brisbane, and then Google this term for me, personal accountant Brisbane. As an average, they rank in 5th position. Very good, awesome start. You know, personal tax accountants Brisbane, they rank in 6th. And so this is how I track the success of a campaign. Let's say we start doing SEO on this website. We add a whole bunch of pages. We add a whole bunch of blogs. We add geo pages. We're basically building on that taller building every single month. This report will refresh every single day. It can refresh every single hour. And the idea is we want to see these keywords moving up. Now, generally when one thing moves up, something goes down. It's either another website that goes down, the competitors begin to react. So there's just a never-ending fluctuations of things that go up and that go down. Anyone that has been tracking keywords or tracking Google Analytics should know that do not refresh this daily. You know, and just take it all with a grain of salt. You're going to have a really, really bad time if you're refreshing it, because guess what? Everything that goes up must come down, vice versa. So this is cool. I love seeing this. This also creates a bit of a warning, because it's like, well, this website is already mature. To do SEO on this website means to make changes to the website. Means potentially the changes might lose the rankings. So you have to be very careful. There's another video that I did for a dentist that ranked number 1 in her suburb, and I gave her advice. Look. I said, hey, I don't feel comfortable taking on this campaign and rebuilding your website, even though it's a knockdown rebuild, but you're already hogging the first place on Google for your main keyword, which is a dentist plus Elwood. It's like, I don't want that responsibility because there's only one place to go and it's down. And when you go down, you get less phone calls, you get less inquiries. So my suggestion to her was, as long as you're okay with that, let's do it. New site, basically give her the warning. But my advice to her was actually, let's build a second website, hog a second spot in traffic, or my websites are actually coming up in her area. So it's not that I declined her. It's just she was ready for someone to sell her SEO, and I'm sure there's plenty of agencies that will just nod their head and just start doing things and not considering the current asset, and then put them into the 24-month contract of whatever it is they're doing. And maybe in the long run it'll work out, but in the short, the site loses rankings and everyone's in panic mode, and it sometimes doesn't work out. I've had that play out. I've seen that play out too many times. So that is the bad side of starting a campaign on a website that already ranks, that is already getting traffic. So essentially we have to be very, very careful, especially if it's built with tools that are unknown to us. So in these circumstances with a client like this, we might act as simple consultants and just advisors. They already potentially have an in-house development team. So we will present them with a list of URLs that they need to fix. Here we go. Here's a quick crawl. Missing page titles, that's okay, doing well. Missing meta description, 59 pages. There you go. So I might pull this list and say, hey guys, here's homework for you. Fix these meta descriptions. We might even make them a Google Sheet and write the meta descriptions for them. They'll just go ahead and implement them. H1's missing, no problem. H2's missing, also no problem. So this is where I respect this website and the way it was put together with SEO in mind. There's no so first thing that Google looks for is a H1 title. They look at an SEO title, then they look at a H2 title, looking good. Images over 100 kilobytes, quite a lot. So some of the images are quite large. Images without alt text is 262 images. Look, not major, but something to fix. This will definitely go into a bucket of things that need to be fixed. I can see the images are named somewhat okay. Buying image 04 needs to be updated to whatever that image is. Let's have a quick squiz at it. So yeah, property, you could do, explain what it is basically. So the reason you need to do that is because alt text is what Google uses that to understand what the website is about, and B, it's for blind people. So if a blind person is scrolling through the website, it uses the alt text to explain to that system that reads it out for the blind person. Google sees that as a micro ranking signal. They want everything to be accessible. They want the user experience to be the best. So that would go into the list of things for them to fix. What else we got? Maybe speed. So in this case, I mean, depending on the situation, depending on the condition of this website, we might not even be making edits ourselves. We'll just say, hey, make these pages, make these blogs, or we'll create the blogs, and etc. So we've had a look at the rankings. We've had a look at very, very basic look at the site, local rankings. So what I was looking at here is organic rankings in metropolitan area. Now we're looking at their Google listing. Now, I actually thought my software was a bit broken here because when I typed in the word accountant, these guys do not show up. So the way this tool works is at each of those points, I think they're 1 kilometer apart from each other or 500 meters apart. If you stand at that location in that creek or wherever that is, Hawthorne, for example, and you're standing at this location and you've Googled the word accountant, this business doesn't even come up in the top 20. So I kind of thought, all right, well, what about tax accountants? Same thing, doesn't come up. Not good. So I thought, maybe my tool's broken. But then I typed in financial advisor, which is really where this website concentrated their efforts. And at their location, they're in second place. But then oddly, here they were 9th, here they were 10th. So they're still, I mean, they're not getting much traffic on these keywords on a local level. But I still thought maybe my software is playing up. So then I actually typed in Nexus Private, which is their Google listing name, And no, they rank number one because that's their brand. No one's really competing with that brand for those terms. So that basically tells us they don't rank locally. So there's nothing locally on that website that Google considers beneficial to them to show up locally. I'm getting lost in my words, but essentially there is a slightly different algorithm that Google uses to judge websites and which websites show up on Google Maps. And there's a slightly different algorithm that shows you websites that show up organic. So if I type in accountant right now, we've got accountant, we've got a Google ad, then we got local. This is local. This is called a 3-pack, and here's organic, right? So the algorithm that calculates who comes up here is slightly different than the algorithm that places people here. It is blended though, right? So in order to show up here, you need to have assets here. In order to show up here, yeah, you need to have a bit of a Google, not necessarily. It's just a one-way sort of communication. But also to show up here, you have to be close to the location. That's the priority of the algorithm. But there are ways and things that I've seen where, you know, accountant on the other side of the city will show up even though I'm located in Aspendale in Melbourne. Because then comes the question is, well, if I'm typing in lawyer Melbourne, do I want the closest lawyer or do I want the best lawyer? So there's a bit of a bit of an interesting way that Google makes those decisions. So we've had a look at keyword volumes, rankings. Let's have a very quick squiz at the pages. Services, financial planning, tax and accounting. I'm going to have a really quick look at the titles on this page. I like these headings. Oh shit, sorry, this should not be a H2. Download PDF, your details, frequently asked questions. So what we're basically looking at is SEO titles like a H2 or H1 should always be reserved for main keywords. For example, tax and accounting services. Perfect. A big picture approach on tax and accounting. Great. Find untappable opportunities to reduce tax payable. No problem. So these are all good. But then it falls over with H2s being used for download PDF, referral details, existing clients. So that's telling me that somewhere in the code of the theme, this download PDF button, wherever it is, not good. They basically just need to change it to normal paragraph text, or at least a H4 or H5 or something like that. Tax returns, no problem. Tax planning, so this is all good. I'd probably even just flick them back to a H2. And this is all good. So generally speaking, the site is in quite a good condition and really ready for an SEO campaign. I looked at all the individual pages very quickly, and I looked at the way the site is created. Somewhat of a clustering is there. So what I mean by clustering, they have blogs on certain categories, and the idea is you want to cluster them. So if you're going to talk about financial planning or retirement planning or property and things like that, property and super, you better have a cluster of content, 3, 4, 5 blogs about mortgage broking, about property and super. And that's what I found. I found that they genuinely did that. I just saw a lack of stuff towards the tax and accounting space. So I could see that they're concentrating on wealth, advisory, personal wealth, you know, here we go, property investing. So these are all the blogs that I'm seeing. SMSF, who can buy property in super. That's a whole category for SMSF. Nothing wrong with that. That's really, really good. So the to-do list would be, well, loaded up with 20, 30, 40, 50 blogs on accounting, small business accounting, accounting for medical, accounting software, best software for bank feeds and stuff like that, Xero versus Mive. So basically load up the website with things geared towards accounting to build that trust. So let's also look at while SEO is great, generally speaking, when I take on a client like this, I'll say, guys, I need there to be a Google ad as well. Because let's say we take over this website. Let's say we start building a whole bunch of pages on this website. It's going to take us 5, 6, 7 months. Sorry, it's going to take Google 5, 6, 7 months to begin reacting. So let's say we started smashing this website with SEO. It's only on the 7th or 8th month that we'll see movement in keyword rankings using these trackers. We'll see movement that looks like these graphs moving up. So I've got plenty of graphs. I just have to be careful what I show here. If you book a meeting with me, I'm happy to share my campaigns and plenty of accounting websites where we start the SEO here. And then sometimes, until a year later, things don't actually pick up. Sometimes they pick up on month 3, depending on how much Google trusts them. But almost every one of our local campaigns comes with a Google ad. So while we're starting the SEO campaign, we're simply going to target the keyword accountant Brisbane, tax accountant, and literally run that ad in this radius. I mean, we could run it further, no problem. Just generally you want it closer to the location where their office is, because if they have an office and they see clients, well, that might help convert the clients. Like, hey, yep, we got an office, come see us. So the first thing we might do is we might create a dedicated landing page. This is purely a page to receive Google Ads traffic. Too many Google campaigns fail, and too many Google campaigns are set up incorrectly. One of the things people do wrong is they send the traffic to their homepage. Will that get them inquiries? Yeah, possibly. It's just hard to track. It's hard to convert. It's also hard to sculpt. A landing page needs to be edited every couple of weeks, every couple of days even. Like, you might change the button from green to red and see how people interact to it. You can't do that with a home page, because a home page is your brand, and you want to keep that as static as possible because it'll change your rankings. So what I'm trying to say is create a dedicated landing page for Google Ads, create a dedicated page for Facebook ads, de-index those pages so those pages don't actually show up to Google. And then you have a bit more of a controlled asset on running an ad. You might change the text, you might add more dot points, you might add more reviews. You might run that for a month. You might see what kind of reactions we get, inquiries we get, feedback that we get. We can see heat maps when they're moving the mouses and stuff like that. Then we come back in a month, add more edits. Or we might even duplicate that page, make a completely different page with different text. We might change it to now bookkeepers. So bookkeeping services get a different page, and so forth. So you can't do that if you're just running the ad, if running the traffic to the homepage. It also skews your analytics numbers and things like that. So in this case, I've literally built a landing page, small business accountants. We do this, we do this, we do BAS, we do business advisory, we do these industries and put, industry medical, industry pharmaceutical, retail, hospitality, accounting for trades. I mean, that's already quite broad, but essentially if someone is in that space, like, oh yeah, these guys know accounting for me. I'm a doctor. Okay, more chances of inquiry. I'd put social signals. These guys have like 50 Google reviews. Where are they? Why are they not on the website? Has to be a badge there. One of our. Oops, not Moab. My plan manager. When we took on this campaign, big NDIS provider, we even put the keyword in their loading screen. Google reviews, 174 reviews. That's so much there to be proud of. Google reviews down here as well. So that's one of the first things that definitely will go up onto the whole website, but also that should be on the landing page. So what do? We do tax returns, we do this, we do this, we do this. There's our reviews, there's how many clients that we've had. So you're showing a track record of success. You're showing your experience and things like that. Case studies are good. Hey, we had this client. The client was a tradie. This was their problem. And we solved it by doing this, this, and this, and this. Bonus if you could do that on a video testimonial. What was it like dealing with other accountants versus what was it like dealing with us? So there's a lot of consulting that we just generally give because we want this campaign to succeed. It's not just we set up a landing page, fire up some ads, and see how we go. Hey, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's recycle and use what you guys are really, really good at doing, and that's accounting and advisory. So I'm just going to pause for a second and I'm going to jump into Google Ads and I'm going to see how much is a cost per click for accounting keywords in Brisbane. 1 second. Okay, I've logged into just a dummy Google Ad account. Accountant. So I'll just do one word. Accountant. We're going to change the location to, so on average, I can't spell. Of course I can't spell. And guess what? That term actually gets searched. How funny. So on average, Google's lying, or maybe it's just changed heavily. From $4, $4.45 to $12.45. I'm just going to change it to Brisbane. Okay. The term accountant gets entered from 1,000 to 10,000. I don't hate it when Google does this. Just give me the number. Make it simple for me. Just the term accountant, just in Brisbane, gets from 1,000 to 10,000 searches a month. $4.82 is the cheapest click that you might get, and $14.24 is the most expensive. Could be a lie, could be more. So why is there such a big difference between these clicks? Well, it's no longer about who pays the most. Google changed their algorithm some time back because they found that people were doing dodgy things, and whoever had more money simply got the traffic, and they diverted that traffic to things that weren't really relevant to the term accounting, for example. So what then happened was Google came together and said, right, well, we need to blend the algorithm again, and it's no longer just a money grab. I mean, obviously Google is a big money grab, but that's okay. They've added a bit of a filter. If they're paying for the word accountant and they're taking them out to a page that's not relevant, that's about dogs or bricklaying, well, that's a bad experience. It means people are going to have a bad experience in Google. They might use Yahoo and stuff like that. So what they did is they now judge your page on this keyword. In other words, if you're going to run an ad for the term accounting, this is a bit extreme, don't mention bookkeeping, don't mention advisory, even though you will. I'm just being extreme here. For a few builder campaigns, when they want dual occupancy home builds, that landing page has just got duplex, dual occupancy, and it's just got houses that are only dual occ. So we don't show them, granny flats or other stuff, even though they do that kind of stuff. So the landing page has to be super relevant to the keyword. So that will maximize your chance of a lower click. So if someone has a bad experience on that page, Google sees that. They have access to your Google Chrome and things like that. So if they've clicked on your ad, they've landed on that page and it's taking too long to load, or they're backing out, means Google gets a signal your page is shit, right? So they'll not only possibly charge you more than 14, but they might not even show your ad because of the quality score. So essentially, there's an additional level of additional filter called a quality score. If you're going to run an ad for cats, you better show them cats. Don't show them dogs. Bad experience means Google A might not run it. B, you'll be paying more. I've just drilled that pretty solid. So anyway, so any SEO campaign, we usually recommend, if this is how many clicks it cost, I'd say spend 1,000 to 2,000 a month just with a Google ad. From the ad campaigns that I've ran, it's hard to sometimes track conversions from phone calls. It doesn't always work out that they click the button on our landing page, which is something that we can track. But sometimes they'll go to the home page. Sometimes they'll find the business in the listings and they'll just dial the number. We can't track that. And so from a very, very conservative analysis of our data, we found that roughly every 10 clicks, every 10 visitors inquired. Okay, now the type of inquiry might range from a business tax return to, hey, I'm looking to restructure, I'm looking to set up, trusts and things like that. Some of them are straight up, hey, I want to set up an SMSF. So we found that every 10 clicks, every 10 visitors that we paid for, let's say it's $14, somebody inquired via the contact form. Okay. Now, all the accountants have said we do get phone calls and we do get direct emails. So the true conversion is better than once every 10. I'm just going by data that is rock solid, which is via the contact form. It's 1 in every 10, which equates to about $250 per an inquiry, right? An inquiry doesn't necessarily mean a book job. So you can sort of work your numbers out from that. Generally, you don't change accountants too often. So if you pick up a client, that client's going to be coming back quarterly, annually, come back to, with additional businesses they might refer. So the numbers are looking quite positively geared on the Google Ads spend. Right, so it's 40 minutes and I'm talking about SEO for accountants. Look, I love this space. There's a lot more stuff that I can share and show. Just really to recap, based on my analysis that I've done, if this was my website and we wanted more accounting leads, I would build additional pages on the website. I'd build a page for medical accountants, pharmaceutical accountants, property accountants, business tax returns, MyOb accountant, Xero accountant, QuickBooks accountant, bookkeeping services. Then I would build a small business accounting page. I would then use that as a skeleton for 191 suburb pages. So I'd literally build a page for every suburb in Melbourne. That's about 200 main pages that I would add to this website straight away within the first month of the campaign. And then over a period of 6 months, I would add roughly 50 to 100 supporting content blogs, guide-like tips on tax returns, what can I claim, all that kind of stuff. So smash the website with supporting content, smash the website with monthly backlinks where we basically network with other websites in the finance space. I have hundreds of those websites myself. Essentially, we power up this website with backlinks. That means Google starts to get Google's attention. There's backlinks hitting this website. There's high quality content on the website. Here are their services in the accounting space. So the content silos, the services pages, they're all there. And then you just let that mature. Obviously, we're working on things every single month, but after 6-7 months, you get that hockey stick of graph and traffic heading to the pages. From there, we jump on some of the blogs that are getting the pages. What can I claim on tax without receipts? And then you might put your contact number there, call to action, hey, book a free strategy session. Or we might hide half the blog, and if it's got 100 things you can claim, we list 50 of them and say, hey, contact us for the remainder of this list. They inquire. While that's happening, and this happens in the first month, we create a dedicated landing page. We turn on a Google ad targeting that keyword. So bang, roughly $1,000 to $2,000 that goes directly to Google. Means we own 200 or so visitors per month that are looking for accounting space. If none of them acquire, well, that means that there's not enough trust signals. There's something on our page that they don't like. There's not enough reviews, or maybe we need to fix up our text. Maybe the colors are not friendly. Maybe they can't see the text. I mean, I can't even see this word hub, right? That's a problem. We need to fix that. This green doesn't work here. So it's either darken the background or change the color structure. I'll just darken the background because even the menu's getting lost here. Facebook ads is great if you have additional spend, and look, it's in the slightly more fluffy category. It's more of brand awareness than a direct conversion from an ad. You can definitely track conversions. If you want more leads and more leads quicker, I'd say put all that spend into a Google ad. But in the long run, Facebook ads are quite good. So the way you do it is you target business owners. The admin of a Facebook page is generally the business owner a lot of the time, and that's actually a category on Facebook. So you can run a Facebook ad within Brisbane, someone that's an admin of a Facebook page, then age of maybe 45 and over, 55 and over maybe. Your bucket of your audience bucket will be maybe 30,000 people there. That's enough. So hit them with a Facebook ad. Hey, book a free strategy session. show them an ad where a video of a case study, a medical practice that you've helped, franchise it, for example. So a bit of a story about the success stories, right? Either a video or do a slideshow of different clients that you look after and what kind of services you provide to them. That more falls into brand awareness. That's like putting a billboard outside a potential client's house. They walk out of the house, they see a billboard, but the truth is if they don't need an accountant, they're not going to inquire. So it's sort of brand presence. So the difference between a Facebook ad and a Google ad is Facebook is intrusive marketing. They're not looking for an accountant at that point, but you're still showing up. So you're being present. Whereas a Google ad is reactive. They are looking for it. You're paying for that visitor. Will drive that visitor to the website. SEO is that. SEO is showing up for that keyword. So if someone looks for it, hopefully we're there. Whereas Facebook, it's that billboard at the front of someone's house for a month. They walk out, they see it every day. Man, I don't need an accountant. So they'll just ignore it. But some of them might. So you definitely can track conversions, but the priority of strategies is rank locally, turn on a Google ad, and then Facebook ad is the third. Social is big. Case studies, track records, just being present across Instagram, Facebook. TikTok's doing pretty good right now, especially if you've embraced technology and you can make really cool videos. It doesn't matter what space you're in. Doesn't matter if you think you're in a boring space, accounting. You can get creative and make something fun and get a lot of traffic and traction through TikTok as well. It's 46 minutes. Hopefully this has been helpful. Book me in. I'm happy to share data on my real campaigns. That way I'm not just generically talking about this kind of stuff. And let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much. All the best.